Not my questions. No, they're good questions. Very good. Well thought out.
Let me count the ways. No, in all seriousness, I find that whole thing very confusing because my understanding is that the mayor and the city council put measures in place to make sure that if Brookfield or the partners did something like this, that we would have recourse. That if we let them dig a hole in the ground and something went wrong, then we could take it back. And I'm very confused at the lack of accountability in this area. I understand that things happen. I understand that building in Burlington is a pain in the butt. And so there are things that got in the way. There are policies and procedures that make it even harder to be able to build anything. And so I have two things. One is we just need to get out of the way so that we can build more housing and have businesses be able to thrive here. And let's hold people accountable when we can.
Okay. And Ali?
You re-ask the question, please.
Yes. Are there policy changes that you feel are necessary to address the downtown mall project to ensure completion? So what policy changes might you recommend to ensure the completion of that project?
Yeah, it is unfortunate that the land doesn't belong to the city. And I think at this point, it is a little bit late to the game to bring any type of policy changes. And I don't even see what type of policies we're talking about for a developer to be able to finish his project. But I think what is important for the city to focus on is a development agreement that we have with that developer. How do we strengthen it in making sure that it is completed? And if not, what type of provision we need to follow up with, maybe going to court or them paying us some fees. But we also should focus in making sure to play this very smart, because if the developer is upset, the ground will be there, and then it will be just an extended problem forever. Let's focus on what matters, but we will not beg to them, but also let's just be very strategic, very smart in getting it done.
Okay. And Sarah?
And I would agree with some of that. Again, it's important to remember that that hole in the ground is, we don't own it, but I think the city needs to, at this point in time, facilitate the new proposal, which I think is significantly better than the previous proposal. It's re-beginning its permit process, so we need to be supportive in that. As Ali points out, part of that will be a revised development agreement, and that's where the city, I think, needs to hold the owner's feet to the fire and make sure that it is accountable to the city, provides us what we need, particularly because the city will, in fact, be paying for the street amenities around that, and we need to be held harmless as they go. And there is, I think, urgency at this point to get this new proposal through the process, a development agreement signed and delivered to us.
Okay. And Ericka is going to use her rebuttal for this question.
We've lost millions of dollars in tax revenue with this hole in the ground. I mean, I think it's something like potentially like $2.5–5 million or something like this. The fact that just to build, as an example, a 30-unit apartment building, builders have to pay $100,000 in Act 250 permits and fees before they've drawn an architectural drawing or put a shovel in the ground. We need to get out of the way and make it not so expensive to build here.
Okay.